For 30 years, every meal, every stitch of clothing, every late night spent nursing a fever, it was all me. I gave them my youth, my energy, my entire life, and what did I get in return? To be called a burden in my own home. It started with whispers, then grew into open complaints. Mom, you just sit around all day. Grandma, you eat so much but you don't contribute anything. They'd say it right to my face, over the very food I had just cooked for them. My son, the one I'd carried for 9 months and spent countless sleepless nights rocking to sleep, he'd just stare at his phone, pretending not to hear his wife's cutting remarks. My daughter-in-law, who I welcomed into this home with open arms, now looked at me like I was a piece of old furniture that needed to be thrown out. The worst part was seeing the confusion in my grandchildren's eyes. They'd look from their mother's angry face to my silent one, not understanding the tension that hung so heavy in the air. I never said a word back. What was there to say? I just ate my food, my hands trembling slightly, and cleared the table in silence. My dignity was the only thing I had left, and I wasn't going to lose it by screaming. After they'd all go to bed, I'd sit alone in the quiet living room, the memories flooding back. I remembered when this house was just a blueprint, a dream my late husband and I had. We poured every penny we had into it. I remembered holding my son's hand as he took his first steps on these very floors. I remembered sewing his school uniforms at this dining table, helping him with homework until my eyes burned. When he got sick with that terrible fever, I stayed by his side for a week straight, refusing to leave until the danger passed. When he lost his first job, I was the one who sold my wedding jewelry to help them pay the bills, telling him it was just some extra savings I had. I cooked, I cleaned, I managed the household finances. I was the rock they all leaned on. I sacrificed my own dreams so they could chase theirs. And now, in the twilight of my life, I was invisible, a ghost in the house I had built with love and sacrifice. One rainy afternoon, while cleaning out the attic to make more space, as my daughter-in-law had demanded, I found an old, dusty box. Inside, tucked beneath faded photographs and baby clothes, was a folder. My hands shook as I opened it. It was the original deed to the house. My husband, ever the thoughtful man, had put the property solely in my name before he passed. He must have known. He must have worried about this very day. A wave of emotions washed over me: grief for my husband, sorrow for my family's betrayal, but also a tiny spark of something I hadn't felt in years: power. I sat there, amidst the relics of my past, and for the first time in a long time, I saw a future for myself. I didn't need a dramatic confrontation. I didn't need to scream and shout to be heard. My husband had given me the key, and I was finally ready to unlock my own cage. I started making quiet phone calls, consulting with a lawyer, a real estate agent. No one in the house noticed a thing. To them, I was just the old woman who sat quietly in her corner. They had no idea I was dismantling the world they took for granted, brick by silent brick. The day the for sale sign went up on the lawn, the chaos was immediate. My son and his wife stormed into my room, their faces a mixture of disbelief and fury. "What is this? What have you done?" my son yelled, his voice cracking. I just looked at him calmly, the same way I had for months. "This is my house," I said, my voice steady, "and I have sold it." There were no more arguments to be had. The papers were signed, the decision made. They were shocked, not by my anger, but by my silence. They had expected tears, pleading, a fight. They never expected quiet strength. They never expected me to simply walk away. On the day I moved out, I packed only a small suitcase. I left behind the furniture, the dishes, everything they thought defined my existence. As I stood at the doorway for the last time, I looked back at their stunned faces. There was no triumph in my heart, only a quiet sense of peace. I had reclaimed my life, not with a bang, but with a whisper. With the money from the sale, I didn't buy a fancy car or a luxurious apartment. I bought an old, beautiful building on the outskirts of town. With the help of a few old friends, we turned it into something special. We called it Haven House, a home for elderly people who, like me, had been forgotten by their families. It's a place filled with laughter, with stories, with shared meals where no one feels like a burden. Here, we are not invisible. We are a family, bound not by blood, but by a shared understanding and mutual respect. I cook again, but now, every dish is met with smiles and genuine gratitude. We garden, we play cards, we look after one another. My betrayal became my purpose. The pain they caused me became the foundation for a community built on kindness. You see, you don't need loud revenge to prove your worth. Sometimes, the most powerful statement you can make is to quietly walk away and build a better life for yourself. Reclaiming your peace, your dignity, and your happiness is the ultimate victory. Your value is not determined by how others treat you, but by how you choose to value yourself. Thank you for listening. Please follow for more stories that inspire,